It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. It makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory. That keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy painted on their columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's not knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk around the railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I dip my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard, a rustling towel, and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cup hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waiting from the back roads by the rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. Late Night Special Part 2, the second half of our Monday night doubleheader, and we have saved the best for last, even though Tina says that might be a wishful thinking of Tina. I don't know how she worded that to me. Not the best for last, the last something. I don't know. But James R's on the phone with me. I'm getting myself in trouble. Hey, buddy, how are you, man?
Hey, what's going on? It's good to talk to you again. Don't worry. Even if Tina gets mad at you, she'll take it out on me. So you're good.
I figured as much. It was good seeing you back in the fall, man. And, you know, you leave me here in the States and all hell breaks loose. For God's sake, you could have stayed, you know, a little bit longer and fixed this crap and got this mess cleaned up before you left, at least, brother.
I hear you, brother. But look, here's the good news. Since the Democrats have made us so freaking broke, I can no longer afford Hawaii. So Tina and I will be moving to Utah in hopefully April. It will be soon.
Really?
Yeah, once we get back on the mainland, there'll be a lot more opportunities for all of us to catch up in all the various events and things that happen around the country.
Well, that is exciting. We're breaking news tonight on the Mac Files. Man, I'm grateful to hear that. I really am, because O'Reilly had the O'Reilly tour with Miller, and we could do a pirate radio reunion tour. Me and you go across this country, and we could light the freaking fire of hell on these Democrats, James. Yes, I'm excited to hear that. That's wonderful, man. Not that there's anything to do in Utah but watch the coyotes run out in the wilderness, but I'm sure I could find something to do out in Utah, right?
And here's the good news, right? I'm close to Vegas. I'm close to Denver. There'll be ways to get to other places in the country, because two major thoroughfares basically run through Vegas or run through Denver. So we'll be able to get some places once we can drive around. Yeah, sounds well. I'm excited to hear this news. I'm joking around a little bit about it tonight, but I'm really grateful you come into the States. I really am, man. And y'all are like family. Y'all are close. Y'all are like blood kin to me. And Tina, our blessings and best to her and the baby and so forth. Hey, buddy, listen. While we brought you on tonight, I've been. I'm going to talk about Trump first. We'll get to the election stuff, because we got Michigan primary tomorrow night. South Carolina was over the weekend, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I do want to get your take, James, on two cases: the Georgia case and also this travesty of justice by this Aragon up in New York. I knew that this prick was going to do what he did. I get it. And I guess you're more astute with these kind of things than I would be. And while they put the interest on him and made him post bond, and I think the judge denied his request. He was trying to get a little bit of time to sort of get his money together to do this. Now, he's filed the appeal today, President Trump has. But the tab for this is going to be literally $500 million just about. And Letitia James, in her scumbaggery, piece of turd way, has been out there bragging on X that she's literally posting that figure as if to say blank you to Trump, blank you to the country, and blank you to the rule of law, James, because this law, I'm still trying to have somebody explain to me how that you can pay loans back. Nobody was hurt. The banks even said he didn't do what they're claiming he did, that he didn't devalue his property, that they went through a procedure that every single real estate company in the world goes through whenever you apply for a commercial loan. Trump did nothing wrong, but yet the state of New York claims that he deflated and basically lied about the values of his properties to get these loans in a favorable term. And this man's facing a $500 million fine and so forth. Please explain to me how that is not effed up in the FDS up ways tonight. Well, I can't do that because it's clearly messed up. There's so many grounds for appeal here. But I think the important factor that the audience needs to pay attention to is that, it's kind of trite to say if they could do it to Trump, they can do it to you.
Absolutely.
Think about what they're requiring in his case. That if a court screws you, an American, over, you don't even have a right to appeal unless you pay the fine up front.
I know.
I mean,
it's unreal.
Think about that. Wait a minute. What? You have to pay to appeal? Since when? Why do we have an appeals process that does that? So, as you can hear, my baby's even upset by that. It doesn't make any logical sense. So, again, this is the corruption of our government and how it's weaponized against the American people, not just Donald Trump. But clearly the Eighth Amendment's going to come in here with unjust fines that have no basis. Like, in other words, this court never showed any loss of revenue, any losses whatsoever, no missed tax revenue, no banks that were screwed out of money, no interest payments, nothing. There was no monetary value that was lost. So the Eighth Amendment's going to come in, and then you have to go to, well, there's also the interpretation of this law, which we, in legal terms, always refer to as novel, meaning new, interpretations of a law. Judges are not supposed to allow that.
that. They're supposed to be very, very discriminatory against those kinds of things. Then there has to be something extraordinary to cause them to allow a novel interpretation to occur. So there's so many means that could overturn this case. So I'm not too stressed about it. But New York shot itself in the foot again when Governor Kathy Hochul literally came out and said, don't worry about all the rest of you business people. This won't happen to you. This was a one-off. Well, wait a minute. Now you've just said that there's a different justice for Donald Trump and everybody else. Are you kidding me? So they've got a lot of problems on their hands, and New York is suffering for it now. You got people like Grant Cardone and the Cardone Investment Group that are pulling all of their underwriting and money out of New York, along with everybody else. I mean, let's face it, Warren Buffett better be worried, because if he doesn't keep greasing the bright pockets, he'll lose his business empire too, because this is all standard stuff. Wall Street might just leave New York over something like this. Why? Because Wall Street is the king of speculative value.
Right.
That's exactly what they do every day, is speculative value. So now you're going to have them wondering, hey, wait, if they can do it to him, if I don't grease the right hands, I lose all of my money, I lose all of my property. No, this can't happen in America.
Well, I think when I heard, and I'm glad you brought up Hochul, because I saw the same tweet you probably did, and I don't know if it was Cernovich or somebody, one of those Twitter guys, but they literally said that by what she said, she was basically admitting that it was a political assassination of Donald Trump, because, again, you're promising other businesses, don't worry about this, we would never dare do this to you, we just did this to him. That's as good as saying that he got screwed over by this judge, but we're promising you you're not going to get screwed over. And I think when Kevin O'Leary, which I love Shark Tanks. I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to watch it religiously, and it's a good show. I mean, it's about these entrepreneurs, and he's always a smart ass on the program. But when I've seen him on Fox News of all places, because Kevin O'Leary's not a raging conservative, James, he's a liberal, but he's even out there saying this is going to bankrupt the city. He said every business. He just repeated what you just said. Every freaking business in New York had better be aware. These real estate investors, they are going to do it to them. And you're right. If they get pissed off with them, or they say something politically that they don't like, they can do it to them, just like they did it to Trump. And I think it goes beyond New York. It goes to this messed up justice system that we are literally witnessing not even a 2-tier anymore, buddy. We're witnessing a 5-tier justice system. Hell, we don't even know from state to state what we're going to get. And none of us are certain that this can't be done to us if we have any kind of funds or any kind of real estate that we try to borrow money against.
No, it's antithetical to justice completely. I know a lot of people love to say, 2 tiers of justice, but I mean, famously, if there's not equal justice for everybody, then there is no justice at all. And so that's really highlighted in what's going on against Donald Trump across the nation. We don't have justice in this country. Look at how the difference is between real criminals, and I mean that in the sense of people that are committing violent felonies against the Americans are being let out of jail to commit another violent felony against Americans, up to and including murder. And yet our J6ers are rotting away in jail because they protested it.
Right,
I mean, little old grandmas that didn't go in the Capitol, didn't do any damage, sitting outside, being raided by the FBI, investigated, jailed, imprisoned. It's insanity. We have no justice in America, and people better wake up to that reality that, honestly, I don't care if you are a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. You better vote for Donald Trump, or you're going to be in jail soon, too.
Pretty much. And I'm glad you brought up the murder stuff. James, I mean, I don't even know what Bernie Madoff got fined. I don't even think he got fined $500 million, did he? When he got arrested for all that scheming and scamming that he went to jail for half his life for?
No, I don't think so. And I think they never even got much out of him at all.
Yeah.
On the confiscations, because he didn't have much that they could
that's
find.
True. That's true. We're so F, man. I swear. I mean, and I know this is sort of tongue in cheek. It does make you want to go to your window tonight and just like what the old famous network movie of the 70s, we're telling our age now,
me and you. But, you know, when the Peter Finch character said, we want to go to our window tonight, and we just want to scream, we're mad as hell, and we ain't going to take it anymore. I think we're at that point, man. I just think we're at the point in this country that we see this stuff. It's maddening. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's insane. And you know, I've known you for going on 5 years now, 6 years, actually, longer than, it's been about 6. And James, even back in the time before the 2020 election, me and you were watching this stuff, and we were just, every night on Pirate Radio, we were like, this is insane. This is insane. Brady, this is reaching a level that I don't even know if insane is the right word to use. I mean, I don't think we ever envisioned it would get this bad. Did you?
No, I think it's very similar to, you know, how we won in 2016. None of us could imagine the problem was as big as it is. None of us could imagine the corruption was as deep as it is. We knew there were rhinos. We knew there was problems, but to basically just blatantly tell the American people, we're not going to do anything Trump tells us to do. I mean, it's just so extreme. And that's the thing, right? Is that these people don't care about the damage they're doing to the country because they know that the rhinos are the soft, weak Democrats in sheep's clothing. They know that they're not likely to suffer the reverse consequences that everybody keeps warning about because these soft people. Now, let me say something about this because I've said a lot, and people need to really understand this because we see it a lot on social media. You cannot defeat your enemy by becoming your enemy. Take that in and understand what that means. But that doesn't mean we can't utilize their tactics in ways that align with our principles. Example, Obama, if we can go after ex-presidents with district attorneys around this country, I think we can find a couple in Texas, Tennessee, Alabama that'll go after Obama for Fast and Furious.
Come on.
I think that there's a couple that we could go after Obama for the extrajudicial killing of an American citizen.
Yes.
Okay. I think there's a couple of DAs around this country that will go after the Biden crime family. Okay, like you better have paid attention to the Pandora's box you people opened because no one is safe anymore. And that is scary to contemplate. We cannot just rest on our laurels and say, well, we don't want to destroy the country the way the left is. Look, it's destroyed. You have no justice. You are going to prison. Your neighbors are going to prison. It is time to fight back before it becomes weapons in the streets. Do you not understand this? Like, you have to use these tactics against them. We absolutely have to punish these people with the exact same tools that they are punishing us with before they will realize that we should have never done this, and now we have to find a way to stop it, because otherwise they're going to keep doing it. And that is like, I hope people realize the precipice this country is really on, because I think we've teetered over the edge and we better start clawing our way back up it.
Do you think that this case, even does the appeals court give him relief, or do you think it winds up at the Supreme Court before it actually gets relief?
That's a good question. New York, I don't think that he's going to find much love there. I think it's going to have to go to federal district court at a minimum. And then, of course, in this particular case, I believe since it's a state case, he can't get relief from federal district court. So the only place it can go is through the state process and then straight to the Supreme Court. So it's going to depend on whether or not the federal judge or the state of New York Supreme Court judges realize that we better stop this now before we destroy all of New York State and all of their real estate development. And that's really a question of a political nature, which, again, should not be in a court of law, right? But that's what they've done with these actions. They're out of control. The judiciary is weaponized against the people. I mean, there's a case right now that's even arguably more important happening right now than what they just did to Donald Trump right in their neighbor state of Pennsylvania. And it's the Amos Miller case. It's where the federal government right now has said the issue at controversy is that food is illegal unless they say it isn't. That's it. That's it.
Great.
That's what they're going after Amos Miller for. So if you grow your own food, it's illegal unless the USDA and the government say it's not illegal. Think about what this really signals and what it means. Because the case of Amos Miller is an Amish farmer basically trading with his private group, every bit like a Costco, right? His private membership, actual organic food grown and cultivated by, organic means. And they're shutting that down because he wasn't certified by the government. And they're trying to put him in federal pen for that.
James, that is insane. That's just blanking insane. I use your term a lot. That's just blanking insane. And you think that it can't get more stupider than something like that. And then we find out that it can get stupider. But I think that your point about the weaponization of it, look, buddy, they've weaponized the IRS against us. They've weaponized the virus against us. So weaponizing the court system is pretty mild on their level of things to do. And look, I think they're going to weaponize more than this before it's over with. Got a political question for you. Kevin O'Leary, again, he's not a raging conservative. He's liberal. Do you think that this finally breaks the glass over New York and the liberals start waking up, or do you think that their hatred of Trump is so bad that they are still going to let their state go up in smoke? Because and Kevin O'Leary's out there screaming. He's telling the governor, he's telling all these people, he's saying this is going to bankrupt our state. He said what you said a while ago, the big people are going to pull out. He said New York will literally be bankrupt if this upholds with Trump. And again, he's not a Trump fan, but he said it's going to bankrupt the state. How politically do you think this is going to be for the liberals to finally wake up and say, maybe we stuck our foot halfway up our ass and we might need to try to get it out and do what's right by this? Do you think there's any hope of that?
Not really. I really don't, because you've got Kathy Hochul and them trying to do damage control and basically saying, don't worry, we're on the right side of the rich and powerful. So therefore you shouldn't worry because you're on the right side. This is a one hit wonder kind of situation. And I think that the TDS is so extreme that these people can't even understand how bad what they did was. They don't understand that they've destroyed capital in New York. And again, it's going to come down to actual money leaving New York. It's going to take someone like a Warren Buffett to pull out, to transfer his businesses to other states. That's what it's going to take. And they're not going to understand it until a major real estate development goes belly up, or, a proposed project dies because capital has been pulled out of it. Because, again, it's risk management. You have opened up the risk factors so large now that why would anyone do a real estate deal anywhere in the state of New York? Because this doesn't just affect the city. This is the entire state. So, but that's what it's going to take for these people. They have to lose. As long as they keep winning with what they want, they're not going to care. These people, they're just deranged. They literally can't envision how the laws they are using against Trump have a reversed effect, because they're so indoctrinated that they actually truly 100% believe that they are righteous, that they are on the side of right, that Donald Trump is a criminal, and this is how you treat criminals. Therefore, all means are justified. That's how they think. They think that what we're saying about Biden is just rhetoric. It's not true. They think what we're saying about Obama is just rhetoric and not true, because they're indoctrinated. They have the inability to rationally think for themselves. It's the God's honest truth.
Yeah. And you and I both, we talked about it this week. Self-righteous, this stuff that people act like you just described is the worst. They are the worst types, and you can't reason with them. And again, they don't care who they destroy. They don't care who they set on fire. And they're willing to let their state, their beautiful state of New York, the Garden State, or not the Garden State, but what is New York's logo? What do they call it there? I can't even remember. But anyway, the Big Apple. They're willing to let the New York area, which is a beautiful state in many places, go up in smoke, James, and they don't care. I had another question, and it sort of slipped my mind about this, but I do want to. I know what it was. Let me ask you this, and then we're going to move on to politics. Do you think the average American out here tonight, you've explained it as clear as can be, even dumb stuff Chris McDonald can understand what you just said tonight, and it makes total sense to me what they're doing. Do you think the average American cares about this? And they should care, because this is a dangerous precedent, because I don't think it's going to stop in New York if they get away with it. I think you're going to have other states maybe doing this. Do you see that happen? You think this is going to be a trickle effect, or do you think it just, these liberals up in New York, it's going to stay and be quarantined up there? Because it's a very huge turning point of our country if this stands. And I got a question about the judge after this.
Yeah, I think it mostly is going to stay isolated to the East Coast here because of the situation. Like, they don't have a means to really go after Trump outside of the Empire State, New York there, which is ironic, right? That it's the Empire State that's going after empires. It's bizarre. There's no real way to put a finger on it other than to say these people are so irrational in their hatred for one man, for one movement. Because let's face it, it's not just Trump, it's us. Why do you think they call us maggots online? Like that is the dehumanizing language for us, because they see us as pond scum. And they can't even justify it because they're just believing such extremely biased lies about everybody, including, even the smaller people as us. So, it's an interesting dynamic, to say the least, that you can watch how brainwashing, how ignorance of history, how them not understanding truth in any manner and facet. This has happened because of our education system over the long term. Like, in other words, this didn't just happen overnight. This is the indoctrination of a generation over, 20, 30 years where we have come to. I mean, literally, when we look at this, it's like these people used The Brave New World of Aldous Huxley combined with 1984 of George Orwell and said, hey, those are good books. Let's try to emulate those. Like, that's what they're freaking doing. And that's why it's so bizarre watching it happen in real time, going, man, how could education get so messed up in this country that now we're rewriting history? We have mainstream political science, people that are actually working in and out of the government, saying ignorant things like Russia. I can't believe Donald Trump thinks Russia beat the Nazis. Idiot. They did.
I know, buddy. Hey, that's America, bro. That's America, and it's scary. One other quick question, we're going to move on. The judge, does he, because I think his actions, James, I got Judge Sherilyn Allen coming on tomorrow night. She's fired up too. She may be the female version of James R. tomorrow night. She's pretty subdued, but when I talked to her tonight, she's fired up. She's pissed. But do you think he's going to get any kind of penalties about this? Do you think he's going to skate away from this crap? Because his actions were criminal to me in this.
Yeah, no, he'll just ride off into the sunset. Remember, they yanked him out of retirement for this case in the first place. So
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's just going to ride off into the sunset. And it's, I mean, the worst that's going to happen to him possibly would be if he gets sanction referral from the New York Supreme Court to the bar, and then the bar is going to slap him on the wrist because, again, they're all deranged people. And these are the same people trying to pull the licenses of lawyers that represent Donald Trump. Like, that's what they're trying to do. These are the people that are on the New York Bar Association. While they sanction, remember, people forgot about the two New York lawyers that firebombed the cops in New York. I mean, this is the people you're dealing with right here. So, no, this judge will just ride off into the sunset. That's all.
All right. Let me change subjects on you. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to get your opinion about tonight's news coming out of Israel that the Palestinian Authority all resigned, their government. Good thing or bad thing? I'm tending to lean to bad, and I tell you why. It's going to leave a vacuum And I think Hamas is going to consolidate power through this. I just do, and I may be wrong. And I just quick 2 or 3 minute comment on that. What's your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts at all on that? But I don't think it bodes well for the future of that region of the world. I just don't. Even though the Palestinian Authority is evil as can be, I'm not saying they are the Boy Scouts, but when you dissolve a government like that, it's going to create a vacuum that a far worse entity could arise in its place, and Israel could be even in greater straits if the next thing that arises is just like Hamas or Hezbollah.
Yeah, well, okay, so your instincts are correct. In my opinion, this is absolutely bad, but it goes much deeper. This is part of the strategy for Biden to get a win before the election and create a two-state solution before the presidential election here in America. This is all being driven. There's a great political article, believe it or not, written about this guy who's actually running the show. You're not going to believe this. If your audience doesn't know already, get ready, hold your hat and your seat at the same time, because both ends are going to fly out. Is that it's Maher Bitar from literally Adam Schiff's attorney that went after Trump in the Trump impeachment. Yeah. He's the guy running foreign policy through his seat as the national security leader for the Biden White House. Like, this is a strategy. Like, he's already in a seat he shouldn't be in, because the seat that he's in is normally run by a career spy, essentially, someone who's been in the intelligence community their entire career that really understands this stuff. That's not this guy. This guy is a partisan hack running this whole program. And what they're trying to manipulate in Israel is a ceasefire from the Israelis in order to achieve a permanent two-state solution in Israel, that they have been doing the same crap for the last 50 years. That's what this is. And you're exactly right that the backfill on that is going to be Hamas. It's always been Hamas every time they've tried it. It's Hamas every single time. In fact, where are all the missiles coming from? They're coming from pipes that Israel paid for to get them water, but they're trying to blame Israel for the water supply lack. Yeah. When Israel only supplies 7% of their potable water, the rest of that water comes from Egypt. And you're trying to tell me that, oh, it's the Israelis' fault. It's the Israelis' fault. No, it's your fault. You guys are terrorists. You've always been terrorists, and you're going to keep being terrorists. The only bright news to the PA resigning is that within the article, it admits that the normal, if there is such a thing, Palestinian people, they didn't want the Palestinian Authority or Hamas either.
They didn't.
So,
they didn't.
You know, this is where we're at. Like, we need to stop the nonsense. This is Israel's problem. It is Israel's territory, and it needs to be dealt with the way that Israel sees fit, because theirs are the citizens that are dying. It's not us. It's not over here in America. We got our own problems here. So this is all a political maneuver by the Biden administration to try to force through a ceasefire and a two-state solution, which we all know how that's going to go. It's going to go shit.
It's going to go to shit, James, and it's not going to happen. I have to tell you, look, I'm speaking politically tonight, but I'm speaking spiritually too. It's not going to happen. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I'm with you on that. Quick question. Ukraine, we passed 2-year anniversary of this war. Does it not insult you like it does me for this bastard of Ukraine to sit on Fox News, and Fox News paints him as this damn hero? You know, I was at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention this past week, and I have some dear friends. They run a Russian Christian station. They've got a network we were on, and I ran into them, and they broadcast in both Ukraine and Russia. And they say that it is so frustrating to them because even their brass thinks Zelensky is like the angel and Putin's the devil, you know. And they are not naive enough to. And they said if even the people over there tend to be blinded by this guy's charisma, and he said they know that he's corrupt as hell. Why can't I know most of this audience probably does. I don't think we're speaking to the groups with us tonight. But there are people in this country, James, that they think Zelensky is basically Jesus, and Putin's the devil, and Putin's the Antichrist. And I'm not saying I trust Putin past his camera, because Putin's a KGB agent, but why is it we got a blind spot in this country for him? Is it go back to the Trump Russia thing, and because of the hatred for Trump, that they are so blinded to the fact that you got corruption in Ukraine 10 times worse than you probably do in Russia?
No, actually, I think it's much, much deeper than Trump on the Ukraine stuff. If we go back and look at the history of the region, right? Remember the whole fake Hillary Clinton brought them the plate, reset button, and all this, right? Is like they've been trying to manipulate this boogeyman forever because they want to be expansionist. That's why they thought they could just keep bullying Putin. It's hubris. It goes back much deeper. The corruption out of Ukraine is much predates Donald Trump, including a lot of people forget the Clinton Foundation that much before Donald Trump was ever the president or even on the political scene, that the money was being laundered into Ukraine. Ukraine was in turn funding the Clinton Foundation, and the Clinton Foundation was the clearinghouse to donate back to the Democrats who actually voted for the foreign aid in the first place. Like this corrupt machinery of legal money laundering has been going on for decades. Decades of this and it just continued. And then Donald Trump was the guy that gummed up the works and caused everything to go back to this, Russia is the evil empire. Because remember, even President Barack Obama famously did the one-liner against Mitt Romney about, hey, the 1980s called and they want their foreign policy back. Right? It was a great line, right? It really was, because Mitt Romney was so out of touch with where things were at the time. So but if you fast forward that to where they became, right, you have to see that, well, wait a minute, even the Democrats didn't think Russia was the boogeyman then. How did they become the boogeyman now? It's political expediency. That's all it is. I mean, look, we don't have to trust Russia as Americans,
right?
But we don't have to trust Putin at all. But Putin has been doing what's right for Russians, and that's what you have to trust. You have to trust that Putin is doing what's best for his country. Why? Because he's popular. His people love him. He's literally been voted in every single time. And the KGB can't control the nation. Again, go look at YouTube. If you think that it's still Soviet Russia, go watch YouTube. See how the Russians live. Hell, it's better than most of you live. I'll tell you that right now. It's much cleaner and nicer. Go look at their gas stations, right? I mean, yeah, there's differences that we would never accept as Americans, but that's okay. We're not fucking Russians.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Hey, James, I'm going to confirm that. The friend of mine, the same friend I'm talking about that I talked to in Nashville, he's a Christian. You know what he told me? He said, Christians in Russia right now have more rights than they do in America. He said, we live freer right now in Soviet-dominated communist Russia than I ever experienced freedom as a Christian in America. That's scary. And I saw a comment, Cleo put this in, she said about the Christians, look, they're persecuting Christians in the Ukraine, and she said that Ukraine's the biggest car wash, the world's largest car wash. They're washing green American money, James R., and we're mad as hell tonight, man. We don't want to take it no more, but they're washing our money over there, correct?
100%. It's legal money laundering, and we all know.
It's legal money laundering. Thank you, buddy. Go ahead.
No, again, it's exactly what's happening. Look, you and I went on live emergency show on the air the night that Russia invaded the Ukraine, and everything we said that night is still true today. Like, just think about that. For 2 years, nothing has changed from that show. Even the prediction, you asked me the question, is like, what's the West response going to be? And I said, nothing.
Nothing.
I said, nothing. It's going to be status quo. All right. Russia has achieved its goals already before the West even gets out of bed. That's a direct quote from that show.
I remember that.
they're going to negotiate it, and Russia's going to keep the territories that they have. And the longer they delay, the more it's working in Putin's favor, not the West's, right? That's what's really happening, because we're looking at the societies in the Western world all collectively not be after Putin, but be after Ukraine. You're looking at it in England. You're looking at it in Spain. You're looking at it in France. You're looking at it in America. You're looking at it in South America. Everybody thinks that these people need to stop. And again, the evidence for why that is on YouTube. 2014, the Ukraine were the ones bombing the Donbas region.
Exactly.
It was Ukraine that was bombing their citizens, not Russia.
Come on,
Russia
James.
came in and did exactly what they said they were going to do. Why? Because all of these different political factors combining and converging at once. You got Russian citizens being bombed in the Donbass. You've got Russian ethnics being bombed in the Donbass. On all of them asking for relief from Putin. You've got the NATO forces making agreements with Putin and then breaking them, saying we would never put NATO on your doorstep, and then trying to do it. You've got the West making agreements with Russia and then screwing him over by putting in all kinds of CIA labs. Now we're finding out CIA bases right on his doorstep, missile batteries right on his doorstep. Well, what do you think? How far can you push a country like Russia before they eventually bite you? And that's what he's done. I mean, again, he famously, we all knew it. We talked about it years ago, but now he's got this Tucker interview, which has been seen by 300 million people around the planet, that, now puts it right back in your face and says, look, I asked Bill Clinton to be a member of NATO. Guess who was in charge? It wasn't Bill Clinton, because it was the deep state even back then.
Right.
That basically stopped that from happening.
I know.
Right?
Do you think that there's also this thirst in this country? And, again, going back to 2018 when me and you first met, on that infamous, wonderful Your Voice America episode that was Oscar worthy. We should have both got an Oscar that night. I just want you to know that. I'm still waiting for my Oscar. But anyway, do you think that there is a thirst in this country for war so bad that the media, this dumb shit media, is willing to hide behind their lies about Putin and Russia? And I saw the Tucker interview. I thought it was a good interview. And look, he was mocking us. I mean, he was mocking us in America, as he should, for how dumb we've become in this. And the stupidity that goes from the White House down through this country and through the media is appalling to me. But this media that carries the water for Zelensky, and it just, that interview with Brett Baer burned me up. It did, because he's sitting there acting like he's he reminds me of? He reminds me of the guy on the side of the street, and I'm not making fun of the homeless here, what I'm about to say, but he reminds me of the people that have their jars out or their cups out and will work for food or need money for whatever, and they're there every day. And it's the same routine. And again, I'm not making light of people with legitimate needs. But James, you and I both know that a lot of people that do that don't have legitimate needs. They're just scamming people out of money. And every time he comes on over to our media and goes on a program like that, I mean, it's just, I just want to puke all over the television. Just say, shut the James R. up. How about that?
Well, right? Look, here's the reality. I think Zelensky's doing what Zelensky needs to do for a very simple fact. Let's remember our opening episodes here, Chris, that to the Ukraine problem is that we said Ukraine was going to be forced to the negotiating table very quickly. What happened? Ukraine literally said, we're headed to the table here to work this out with Russia. And who stopped them? Boris Johnson, at the behest of Joe Biden. So is Zelensky's basic position here is that, hey, you wanted me to keep fighting this war. Pay up, sucker.
That's it.
Give me the money. It's your war. It's not even his war anymore. He's like, hey, you guys want me to keep doing this? You got to pay for it. So in many regards, I don't have as much contempt for Zelensky as a lot of people on our side do, because I understand that simple fact that this problem was one created by our country. And, you know, this is not a problem that Ukraine ever completed on their own.
Good
this
point.
was our, and we know today, as news is breaking right now on it, our CIA was the one pulling all these strings. It quite literally was our deep state setting up the Ukraine for this kinds of condition and funding the bombing of the Donbass and organizing this exact scenario to occur. These guys are just doing more regime change. It reminds me more closely of what happened in the late 70s with Iran, where they completely failed their coup that they ran in Iran, to the point where we ended up with the Iran hostage situation that was solved simply by President Reagan being elected. That's how serious the CIA and these Democrat whack jobs screwed that job up. And I think they did the same thing here in Ukraine. I think they did the exact same thing here in Ukraine. And I think the exact same scenario is going to come out when Donald Trump wins in the election. I think Ukraine will be solved within a week after he gets elected. I mean, I think it's that easy.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
I'm with you. And that's actually a question already popping up in the chat room. Frosted Sleet says, by the way, welcome, Frosted. They came over here tonight from your Twitter feed. It's good to have them in the YouTube channel. But he says, when Trump says he can settle the Russian-Ukraine war, do you think that's possible? I do. I think that he can, because, again, Trump's not a war hawk. He's not trying to drain the American economy with this fall paw war. And, look, I see your point about Zelensky, and I get it. It just irritates me when he's over here begging money, because it's already an open wound, James. Look, the billions of dollars that we've wasted sending that to him, and it's extortion money to me. I think it's what you described. I also believe it has Hunter Biden ties in that Burisma situation, and it's just Joe Biden's payment to him for keeping his mouth shut before the 2020 election. And that's just my opinion, but I do believe Trump will fix this when he gets back in office, and I do. I think that I don't think it would have happened to begin with myself. And then we'll move into politics and wrap this up after this. What's your thoughts on that, real quick, buddy?
Listen, I do this in a joking way, but I'm not sure that it's appropriate on your channel, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to keep it clean. Okay? But it's very simple to solve this problem. I could solve this problem with 2 phone calls. The first phone call is to Zelensky. Hey, Zelensky, you better get your ass to the negotiating table, because I'm cutting off all your funding today. Okay? You're not getting another dime out of America. Okay? You better get your ass to the table. Second phone call. Hey, Putin. Yeah, it's Trump. Guess what? I'm back, bitch. All right? Now, here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to the negotiating table, and we're going to stop all this. I want you to stop it right now, or look. Here is the literal picture of your bathroom in the past. Okay? You understand? I told you before. If you went into Ukraine, I'd bomb Moscow. You think I won't do it? You know I'll do it. Now, get your ass to the negotiating table and let's end this. I mean, it's that fast. This thing will solve before Trump gets the inauguration. I promise.
Yeah.
Because Putin is a rational actor. That's the thing that our media keeps trying to screw everybody's mind up. If you take any action that Putin's taken, any one of them, they are rational. No matter, you can put the worst spin on it ever. You can literally say that Putin literally poisoned and killed Navalny. Okay, I'll give you that and tell you it's still a rational act. Why? We have video that shows that Navalny was trying to engender a coup in the United States, meeting with a British spy master, asking for $20 million a year to fund that project. Now tell me that you may not agree with it. It may be against human rights, but it would still be a rational act for him to get rid of people trying to destroy Russia from the inside. Okay, so there's no situation that you can do, no matter how bad the spin is you want to put on it, that would say Russia's out of control and lunatics, right? When did Russia act like a lunatic? Nobody can point to a single time, including going into Ukraine, because it's a rational act. It was the Ukraine bombing the Donbas region, and Putin has a rational act to go in there and stop it. It's that simple.
It's that simple, man. Now, what I see, I've always believed that if I ever run for president, You're either going to be my Department of Defense head or my press secretary. I don't know which one yet, but I think I'm going to give you dual position. I'm going to let you handle the press, and then I'm going to let you handle the foreign policy or Secretary of State. Secretary of State James R. Would you take that job?
Yeah, but the rest of the world would be like, they would treat that like John Bolton as the War Department Defense, right? They'd be like, oh my God, he put that crazy fucker in there?
Amen, buddy. Hey, we got this hour's going by so quick. You always do good. Hey, final question, and we got to do this more often. We do. We need to start making this a regular part. We've had you on 2 months in a row now. We need to do it even more sooner. But I do want to ask you a question politically tonight. Nikki Haley gets her ass handed to her in South Carolina Saturday night, but she's going to fight the good fight. She's going to take one for the Gipper. Do you think she's destroying her political career for 28 by doing this like I do? And what's your thoughts on her? And does she go down with the Titanic, or do you think she's going to see the light like DeSantis did and get her tools, go back to South Carolina and bake some cookies and serve lemonade to her husband? What's your thoughts?
Oh, no. This is her final hurrah, and she already knows it. She knew what she was doing in the beginning. That she's already destroyed her political future. There's no rational act in the American populace that's going to elect her to anything. And then who in their right mind would appoint her to anything, because it would be self-destructive. So, no, she's getting her funds that she can get now. It's all about the cash. We don't know that her likely next job is just to go back and sit on the board of Boeing and the board of Northrop Grumman and every other defense agency contractor and make her millions and basically just sit there on the sidelines to be the disruptor, to try to drive. You mentioned something earlier that plays into this, and I didn't really respond to it, but America has not had an appetite for war since Vietnam. I mean, everybody, this never happened. Like even when we went into, I think the first Gulf action was Desert Shield. No, it was Desert Storm.
Desert Storm.
And,
yeah.
When we went in there, Americans wanted exactly what we got: a technological war where we went in, got the bad guy, and got the hell out of there. Right? That was the only time I can remember where Americans as a populace said this is what was necessary to get done. Because even in Desert Shield, people were like, what are we doing over here? And then, in Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11, people were still didn't even like that. They're like, wait a minute, why the hell are we going after Afghanistan? You told us that this was at bin Laden's feet. Now we're in 2 wars? What the heck? So there has not been an appetite in America for war since Vietnam. And so that plays into this here with why is Nikki Haley out there? Because this is what she's promoting. She's promoting the military-industrial complex, ideas, prospects, and keeping their people in charge. And that's all she's representing.
Buddy, I couldn't have said that any better. And, I think I called her Saturday night. Mag Rose was on our program. And I told Magdalene Saturday night after South Carolina, she's become the new Liz Cheney to me. She's just not as anti-Trump, but she's anti-Trump. And, I don't know if people have caught on to the gig, but to me, and I know that there are some Republicans, because a lot of this is coming from that screwhead rhino wing of the Republican Party that's really not Republicans. But her money, James, a lot of the money that she's kept, and the Koch brothers left her today, but the whole Democratic machine has been propping her up from the beginning. She wouldn't have even made it into these primaries had it not been even for the Democrat money. I'm not even sure she would have got 30% in South Carolina, her home state, had it not been for the 10% of these, 10 or 15% of these Democrats that vote. I'm with you 1,000,000%, and I think you answer my question. Maybe she don't even care about 28. I think this is all or nothing. Burn it down to the ground. Try to get Trump out, and hope that people will do it. And they've not bit the apple, and good for them, because she's disgusted me really from the beginning. That's just my opinion. But anyway, hey, I just thought of a grand idea. It just hit me while I was talking to you. Me and you are going to go into the movie business. Okay, I want you to know this. And in October of this year, you will have been in Utah 6 months, okay? And I'm going to come, and I'm going to get a movie producer, and we're going to produce a movie, and it's going to be called James R. and the Mormons. Okay? Are you ready for that? Are you ready to star in your own movie? I just wanted to ask you that before I leave.
No way are we going to do... maybe we'll do James R. in the evenings, but, dude, I do not like the morning. I am not...
No, I didn't say mornings. You missed my term. James R. and the Mormons. Mormons. Yes.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
I just want to see these Mormons 6 months after you spend 6 months in Utah and see how they're being around James R. is going to change the state of Utah. I'm excited about the possibilities there. I just want you to know that.
I have two committee chairmen already. Like, when I hit the ground, I'm going to be running. So if Ryan folks in Utah will be passing a bill to remove me from the state. Because you know how I roll. I'm rolling into Utah with strength behind me and people already in the game in Utah. Oh, we're going to be lighting that place on fire, brother.
Well, the Mormons, we're I tell you, we're brothers, man. We're brothers from another mother, because I hate the Mormons too. But the Mormons, I think it'd be a great movie, you know, and I can't wait for this. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. But it's been a great show tonight. I wish we had time for questions. I'm going to get you back on in a week or so on a night we got more time, and take questions from the audience. I'm going to tell you, it's been great having you, buddy. You know, you're my brother from another mother. I love you and Tina, and that baby's precious, and y'all are family. And you be safe out there in Hawaii until you get to Utah. And I'm going to give you the final word tonight, and then I'm going to say goodnight to these folks. Final thoughts, anything that you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, listen, forget talking about Nikki Haley anymore, honestly. From this point forward, she just had her best performance of this entire cycle. And that's in South Carolina, 20% point of crushing defeat. Everywhere else, it's going to get worse, except with the lone exception probably of Texas. We don't need to talk about Nikki Haley anymore. We need to all collectively focus our attentions on the general.
Absolutely.
You need to fight with Biden people, not Haley people. You need to fight with people that want Tulsi Gabbard as the VP. Those are the targets that you need to be paying attention to. It's all about the general. You guys have all heard me talk about it and say, personally, I think the choice is Kristi Noem, but that's a Trump read. That's not a James R. wish list, okay? There's plenty of qualified candidates. Ben Carson, Byron Donalds, plenty of people that we can put up there. But for sure, it cannot be Tulsi Gabbard. You know that. I know. Your audience knows that. So, these are the things we need to be focused on, is anything that affects the general. Another thing is to understand that we need to support Scott Pressler in all his endeavors. He is right on the money and on target. And don't get confused by these people that are going to tell you, well, he's trying to get Green Party people on the ballot. Yeah, that's a good thing if you understand poli-sci strategy. Why? Because those Green Party candidates aren't pulling people from our vote. They're pulling people from Biden. Why is that important? Well, because there's a big rumor out there right now, because the No Labels CEO decided to come out and say, yeah, we're looking at Nikki Haley as possibly running. That is giving an excuse to that 10 to 14% of our base that's not going to vote for Trump to vote for someone else. So what is that doing? It's minimizing our vote turnout. We need to make sure we're doing everything we can to minimize Biden's voter turnout. Because if we don't win this election, it might be the end of America. We'll be talking to each other across communist lines.
Buddy, absolutely.
And springs tying together our prison camps, Chris.
I'll be hiding out. I've been to Utah, and there's a lot of rock canyon formations in that state. We'll be hiding out in Utah, brother. We'll be headed to Montana. You Montana folks, get the Kool-Aid and the cookies ready, because McDonald and James R. and all of us are coming. We're coming up there to hide out with y'all. But you're right, brother. No, it's a serious situation.
I got a four-wheel drive pickup, Chris. Don't worry about it. We'll load it up with fuel and head wherever we got to go.
Sounds good, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate your best wishes to the family. Good stuff tonight. And listen, I'll have you back on soon. And have a good night out there. Thank you for being with me tonight on the Select Show. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
Bless you, brother. You too, James R. Good night, man. James R., everybody. Put some fire in that house. Goodness gracious. What a good guy. What a good show tonight. Oh. What a good show. What a good show. And, let's see here. There was a couple of things I want to read. Rosemary, you says, do you think Haley is staying just in case Trump is locked up? Well, that's wishful thinking. He ain't going to get locked up. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think she's just being belligerent and burning it down. Let's see here. There was something else I read. Annette Cleo says the West paints Putin as either dying with just days to live or a lunatic, and that's true. That's how they paint him. Putin said told Tucker, America has its own problems to stay out of Russia's problems. That was wise of Putin, and I agreed with that. Let's see here. Peter, you said something I want to bring up. You said, where was that I was looking for something Peter Lurie said, and it was up here beyond, poking the bear with a stick, not a good idea. Well, yeah, Peter, I'll agree with that, but I think James R. pointed it out. Putin's he's doing what's right for his country. And they have been poking him, and America has made him the great boogeyman. Our media's done that, and the Dems have done that because of their hatred for Trump. And if President McDonald was in power tonight, and James R. is my Secretary of State, I would let James R. deliver that message that he said he would deliver to Putin and Zelensky. But I would let James R. do it in the pirate radio manner, because I can guarantee you that was tame. That was tame. I was like, here we go. This is the first James R. bomb of the night. And he held back a little bit because of the show and out of respect for the McFiles tonight. I can only imagine that conversation. That's all I got to say. It would have been worth the popcorn. It would have been worth the popcorn. That's all I got to say. Good Lord of mercy. Oh. All right. Red Dawn scenario, Jennifer, it might be. It might be. And yeah, I know what it was. Peter, you mentioned Haley campaign. You said that she's soliciting Dems. She can solicit them all she wants to. It ain't going to work. They can't be solicited any more than they already are. And it don't surprise me. And I think we need to take James R's advice tonight, folks. Forget Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley will be old news in about 2 weeks. Super Tuesday's coming. Trump will have this thing wrapped up. She will literally implode herself. She's already done it, to be honest with you. But ignore her. We got bigger fish to fry. Nikki Haley is not going to be a factor in this race. I'm with James R. I've been very concerned of the echo chamber, and I didn't ask him about Ronna McDaniel tonight. She's officially out as the RNC chair. There's a chance tomorrow night, late, Magdalene's coming on. We got Michigan. We forgot about Michigan Saturday night. We mentioned March the 4th would be our super primary, Tuesday primary, but the first Tuesday of March. But the Michigan primary is tomorrow night. But our concern tonight, my concern is Tulsi Gabbard. She's not even a rhino. I mean, this is a Democrat posing as a Republican. So I don't know what you call that. A rhino posing, a Democrat posing as a Republican is a rhino. She's not even posing. She is a flat Dem, and she's a left-wing loon. And James lives in Hawaii. She's from Hawaii, and he's very aware, and I've been very aware of her tactics. And I hope Trump ain't even considering that. I just don't. But my concern right now is this VP choice, because I think that's going to be very important. And me and Magda may talk about that with y'all tomorrow night. It is late. It's 11 o'clock. I think we've had 2 good shows tonight. Let me change that. I think we've had 2 great shows. Did Joe Gilbert do a good job this evening at 7? If you didn't listen to that network show at 7, go back. It was about church security. Excellent information. Very encouraging. And James R. hit a grand slam. He just didn't hit a home run tonight. He hit a grand slam. I mean, this was good. The network flowed, and we want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. We got some new listeners in tonight, and we're grateful for that. And Fox gave her a platform. That's right. That's exactly right. Fox did. And I do want to say I apologize to the New Yorkers, the Empire State. I couldn't think of it. The Empire State, but the Big Apple is New York City. So both were right. The Big Apple is New York City. It's the Empire State. Still full of liberal morons tonight. Not you folks, but the government. The Kathy Hochul's and the Eric Adams. God help you, New Yorkers. God help you, New Yorkers. That's all I got to say. We're praying for you. We're praying for you. I need the practice and you need the prayers. It is late. Listen, Faith Network in the morning. Judge Cheryl Lynn Allen, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Possibility Magdalene on later, but Judge Cheryl Lynn for sure at 8 tomorrow night on our Tuesday Night McFiles. So our week gets even better. We got Bill Federer coming this week. We got Jennifer Harrison coming this week. Bill will be on a recorded interview, and it'll be part one. His interview is part one of Islam's history. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be good stuff. And keep an eye on this thing in the Middle East, folks, with this PA authority. I'm telling you, it's not good what happened tonight. I know there's media is applauding it like it's some breakthrough. It's not. It's going to set up a vacuum, and the terrorism is just going to increase against Israel, to be frank with you, by what happened tonight. So please be praying for our Jewish friends and the nation of Israel. And pray for your host. And pray for each other out there. Keep each other... keep an eye on each other. Love each other out there. We are our brother's keeper. And right now, we all we got. And I heard James say it tonight, and I tend to agree, folks. This country, we've had a lot of elections in the past. People have said this is the most important election of history. There ain't none more important than this one in 24. And I'm telling you, we better, all hands are on deck, and we better focus on things that are important and all this tawdry, childish crap that people are focusing on out there on the internet and YouTube and all this stuff. You need to understand that there's far greater things that are facing this nation tonight, and we better all get focused. All of us, me included, all of us had better be focused on this nation and being there for each other, because we're going to need it before November. It's going to get wild. That's all I can tell you. All right, that's all I got tonight. We gave you 3 shows today. We'll give you 2 tomorrow. Be with me in the morning around 9:30 on the Faith Network, and then tomorrow night, the one and only Judge Cheryl Lynn Allen. She's got a lot to say. We didn't get to Fannie Willis with James. She's going to talk about Fannie Willis and Mr. Wade tomorrow night, so don't miss that. She's got a lot of opinion about it, and it's going to be good stuff. Listen, I love you tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you, and welcome to all our new listeners tonight. Thank you all for chiming in out there. It's good to see you. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there. See ya.